and they're treating all kinds of things. So like injury to hip dysplasia to back issues to obesity.
Mm-hmm.
So just like going to the gym, if they can't handle the walk around the block, which it can be hard on really overweight dogs like that.
Yeah. And as always, if you're walking your dogs outside this time of year, watch the heat,
Yep.
watch the temp levels, because pavement, blacktop, asphalt, it goes through the roof.
Oh my dog. Dog. Oh my dog.
Oh, my dog. Hey.
Oh my dog, hello.
We're back.
Back again.
And we're going to talk about something that we lightly touched on our previous week's episode.
Fat dogs.
Fat pound puppies. We have had an uprising. It feels like we're in some sort of twilight zone of fat Fidos. Good God.
It's been a week.
There are so many, and they're all old and fat. And now we have to do the work of getting them skinny enough that somebody like wants to take them. I don't even know.
And we don't mean like slightly overweight.
We're talking obese, like, so the current foster I have, his name is Kaboom, and it sounds like a kaboom when he sits down. He's huge. For him to get up, it takes like a full 30 seconds.
That poor dog.
He's so overweight. He is a German Shepherd, purebred, beautiful. Actually, the tallest German Shepherd I've ever seen. Like, he comes up to like my hip.
Really?
His legs are very long. He's really tall. So he would otherwise be a really large dog. I think his ideal weight is about 100 pounds.
Yeah.
He's 136. So he's massive. And he came in with another dog, equally overweight. So it's not like it's just this dog problem. It was that household problem.
Right.
And we've had multiple inquiries today, as well as multiple dogs coming in. We have another little Chihuahua that's severely overweight as well in our care. Why is this? It's a problem with the humans in America, and it's a problem with the dogs in America.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, like, sometimes when you see a large dog that is part of a pack, like it's a food, like they've been neglected of food for a long time before they came into that environment, and so they like can't get enough, and they just eat and eat and eat because they've been deprived of food for so long that they're like ramping up to store food for a long period of time.
Yeah,
but
they're
then
like
it's
afraid
always
they're not
available
gonna get
to
more.
them. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I have a dog. I have a large pack of dogs, and I have a dog in my pack. All of my other dogs are perfect body weight. My pugs are thin. You know, they're athletic. And I have a Chihuahua who is a freaking meatloaf. And we're working on figuring out why. I've got him on supplements now.
What's his name?
Chicken Little, but it's not.
I knew his name, but I wanted you to say it.
His name's Chicken Little because he was the tiniest little Chihuahua I have ever seen in my life, and he was so scared of everything, and so he always looked like the sky was falling, you know. So I named him Chicken Little, but now we just call him Chunkin. He looks like a baked potato fell out the oven and got legs.
And it kind of happened quickly.
Yeah. So we neutered him, and it was probably within 6 months of that, he went from like being petite and small to being a freaking meatloaf.
Right.
And it wasn't like lack of food or too much food or lack of exercise or whatever. He has the same situation as all of the other dogs in my household, but something ain't right. So we're working on it. I need to get him in for a full like blood workup at this point because it's just kind of getting worse. I don't know what's wrong with him.
Seems like a thyroid issue, maybe.
I do think it's medical. But what we're talking about on this episode is when you think that you're loving your dogs by feeding them and giving them treats and giving them food off your plate, and it's not love. That's actually a form of abuse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, honestly. I mean, that sounds
it sounds a little extreme,
but
you're subjecting a dog who has no other choice as to what comes into its life. You know, they don't know what they should or shouldn't eat, you know.
Right.
And you're giving that dog a cheeseburger and fries and, you know, the food off your plate and all of the leftovers that you eat during the week. And you think that you're doing that because you love the dog and the dog loves to eat it. But then now you're subjecting that dog to endless health issues because they're so severely overweight.
Yeah, you see these posts. I mean, pup cups I'm fine with because it's a treat and
A
it's
quick little treat every once
quick
in a while.
little.
Yeah.
I don't know how many calories are actually in a pup cup, but
It's a
whatever.
whipped cream, right? Like, not a lot. It's fine.
Where I start to get a little like cringy is like the McDonald's drive-through and the dog gets a whole ass meal for himself, and I'm like, nah,
Well, my
that ain't
mother,
it.
she has a little Papillon. And she is now divorced, but was in a relationship where her ex-husband used to feed their little Papillons anything and everything. Even though he was told not to, he was doing it because he thought that he loved them and he was trying to show them he loved them.
Right,
Little Angel is supposed to be like 6 pounds.
right.
She was like 16 at one point. Oof. She was so huge, and we used to make fun of her and all this stuff. And then I was like blaming my mom and all these things. And she then has been on her own, and Angel's back down to her regular weight, and she's like 14 years old and is like doing great. But if she had not gotten her weight back down, I guarantee you she wouldn't still be alive. No. So,
and there are. If you're going to give your dog a treat, there are healthy options. Like,
yes.
And they're going to enjoy it just as much as they enjoy a cheeseburger.
Yep.
Like, my dogs very, very rarely get anything off the table.
Mm-mm.
I mean, and
I'm pretty
they
strict
know
about that.
It's not, my dogs don't sit there and beg and whine and paw and look at you with these big old eyes because I've never even started it. I just don't do it.
Well, that's the reason. I mean, yes, I don't want my dogs to be overweight, but the main reason I have that strict rule in our house is because I cannot stand a dog whining when I'm eating.
Right.
Sometimes I eat on the couch. Sometimes I, will go lay in my bed and watch a movie and eat. Sometimes I eat up at the bar. We don't have a kitchen table. We have like a bar area. But if I had my entire pack of dogs whining at me for food,
it wouldn't be enjoyable.
No, it would be off. And they all just lay down on the ground and know that it's happening, and they don't care. They know that when it's treat time, they're all,
right.
We know. But it's specific times that are meant for when the dogs are going to eat. It's not combined with my eating time. That sounds terrible. Why would you want to create that?
I don't know. My dad, as you know, we have a group chat with my mom and dad and little Tater, and the diet of Tater is vast.
Yes, but
to say the least.
I wanted to bring up Tater in this
because they're healthy snacks.
Yes,
like they're healthy treats, and I know I can just see it happening right now. My dad, without question, every night will sit down and have watermelon or pears or ice cream or whatever. It's just his thing. It's what he does. And little Tater is his little little baby.
Yeah.
And so he just shares his life with her, and that's fine. So it doesn't have to be cheeseburger. She loves sweet corn. She loves the cob. She loves pears. She loves pretty much basically anything Dad is eating.
Yep.
She'll eat too.
Which I want to say real quickly, do not give your dog a full ear of sweet corn unless it's a tiny chihuahua and you're watching it eat it off the cob, because that is something that can easily get impacted in the gut, and you're going to have big problems. But sweet corn itself is really healthy for your dog.
Yes.
They can have that as a treat.
Yep. Now, excuse me personally, I make my own dog treats with
their
crack. If you've listened before. I mean, I make their own dog food, so that's a whole nother thing. But their treats are ground up organs, beef and pork organs, like liver.
Of her enemies.
Heart. Yeah. And pumpkin. Pumpkin is very good for dogs as well. And then
cuts down on the evil.
Freeze dry them. And actually, on my to-do list is to get that dog treat license so I can start selling these dog treats. Kind of on the legit. But
yeah, those things are great.
If anybody has any spare time on that, let me know.
No, sounds horrible, but I would
I'm just
gonna buy the treats
under the table anyway. I don't care. If you want dog treats, get in touch with me.
I do want dog treats. My dogs love those things. And I've actually tried buying the store mass produced ones. No.
And your mom's dog really loves them too.
Oh yeah, Angel doesn't like anything anymore. She only eats. My mom boils chicken for her, and then has a little bit of her kibble for her teeth and stuff. But that's all she eats. And then she likes those freeze dried treats.
Yep. So I guess what I'm saying is try to separate, especially if you're bringing a dog into your home, if you're adopting a dog, your first dog, what have you. Just set that from the outset. Like, just don't feed them off the table. And then in the rare instance that they do get a bite of something, then it actually is a treat. It's not an expectation.
And take it away from what you're doing. Like, do not take that from your plate and hand it to your dog. You're creating a monster. I don't believe in a lot of rules. I hate rules as a rule. In fact, but dogs are allowed on the couch. We all sleep together in bed. My dog can kiss me on the mouth, whatever. I don't care.
These people that get all bent out of shape about that, or, the TikTok thing, dogs do not belong in bed. All right. Well, I think you're wrong about that.
Yeah.
And I got 4 dogs that are going to disagree with you, too.
Man. Oh, this morning, our little tot dot, I've been sick and I'm finally over it, but my husband's been sleeping on the couch to avoid the plague, because I'm disgusting and just like hacking all night. So I've got all the dogs in the bed to myself. And this morning, Tot, she lays in the bed, but she had this like moment of like, I just need to make sure that mom's like okay and that she knows that I love her. And I just had this like, it was like a euphoric, sweet little thing. She like jumped up, woke me up, put her face on my face, put her arm over my body, and just full-fledged, like, snuggled in. Like, it was like, she's like, I'm going to be the big spoon now, Mom. And just goes hardcore and, like, shoves her face under my... It was so sweet. And I'm like, how do you not want this in your life? It was so great.
I get it every morning.
So cute.
Reese girl.
Yeah.
Paws my face. Yeah, I don't get that. Anyway, back to the topic.
But I don't believe in rules for your dogs in that way in your house. But when it comes to eating, you should need to set boundaries.
Right.
Yeah.
And watch that weight, because just like humans, as you get older, it gets harder to take it off.
Amen.
And so in my mind, I think about it, it's so much harder to drop weight than it is to not get the treat or not get the human food off the plate or not be overfed.
Yeah.
It's so saving yourself and saving them from that inevitable scenario. I that's what I think about when I don't feed my dogs, people food or too much. So when you start seeing them gain that weight, if you're doing your annual wellness exams, even if you weigh your dog occasionally at home, kind of track their weight, make sure they're staying consistent.
And much like people, the scale is not everything. I'm going to post, when we post this episode, a weight chart. So looking down at your pet, what does an underweight dog, a healthy dog, an overweight, and an obese dog look like?
Right.
Chicken Little looks like the tadpole on the end here, this obese. It looks like a
little tick.
Looks like a fat tick. But when you start noticing your dog's shape changing, specifically from when it's standing and you're looking down at it, there will be, a specific midline. If you're not seeing that midline anymore, if you're seeing more of like straight edges or like an outward bowing, like you're probably getting a little bit overweight. It says that this is on the a Humane Society website. It says if your dog or cat needs to lose a few pounds, one way to tell if it's a healthy weight, you should be able to check the rib cage. If you feel just like a small layer of fat but can still feel the ribs, ideal weight, right? We want a little bit of layer there. If you have to press hard to feel where the ribs are.
Can you even feel Chicken Little's ribs?
No.
Oh.
He's hard. He's not squishy.
Maybe he's constipated.
No, he's not. Do you know how you're a crazy dog lady? I know whose poop is whose.
Oh, jeez.
So Chicken Little has like a very specific poop, so I know he's got good poops.
I guess I have never, I can't say I've never looked, but
I can tell. Well, it's because my Chihuahuas, a lot of times, especially in the winter, they do go potty on puppy pads because I don't make them go out in the cold.
Sure.
So I'm pretty well versed on my Chihuahua's poops and whose is whose and who I'm like, they're all
impressive.
They're all very good at going on the pad. Like they know where to go, and if they know it's cold outside, they're like, screw it, we're gonna go on this pad. And if somebody misses, I'll be like, Momo, you need to work on your aim, buddy. He goes off the edge, So anyway, yeah, no, Chicken Little. There's no ribs there.
I think that's an important thing too. Is poop is a very good indication of your dog's health.
Yep.
If they've got the runs, or if it's got mucus in it, or if you see blood spots in it,
Or if they're struggling and things are
it,
getting stuck.
right? If they're impacted.
I once took a dog to the vet in an emergency. I was like, I need to see someone now. It was a
foster.
It was a foster.
Chiquita.
And she was a little chihuahua, but
Chiquita was full of bananas.
Chiquita was full of banana. She was this tiny little dog. Just her face just looked stupid. Like she was just so dumb looking, in the cutest possible way. And we open feed, and most dogs figure that out after a day or two. They might engorge themselves the first day, but then they're like, we get it. It's not going away. We're going to eat this food. It's fine. Chiquita, she didn't ever figure it out. She was tiny, and she just ate and ate and ate and ate and ate. And I was like, something is really wrong with this dog, because she was like pregnant, bowed out. She was like a circle.
And hard.
And like,
Yeah.
she was, and
struggling.
Took her to the vet, and they're like, oh boy, yeah. I'm like, is she like organ failure? What's happening? This looks terrible. They took her in, they did an x-ray. I have a picture of the x-ray.
I remember that.
And you quite literally can just see she's full of shit.
Yeah.
Like just the most poop possible. She just had eaten so much that she was filled with poop.
Well, and so like hoarding situations that we respond to and bring dogs in from, that a lot of them will have, they're just not, they're confused about food situations.
Yeah, they don't know where it's coming from or how
when
much
they're going to get it next.
Yep, how much they should eat at any given time. They eat until they're overfull if it's available,
Right.
So, there's pros and cons to having meal times or not or whatever. And I've always open fed, and it's always worked well for us. But I've certainly had dogs like Chiquita that have come in and been like, yeah, this isn't going to work. So I actually moved her to a different foster who, in very short order, with having meal times, had her looking.
Brie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brie had her looking like a normal dog again.
Fat camp. She went
on fat, and it was so cute. She did like updates. She's like, day 1 in fat camp. Mom and
This
Dad
sucks.
This sucks. I don't know how I ended up here. Mom and Dad ate a steak, and I didn't get anything. I'm starving. Like, somebody send help.
But that's what I think about when I'm, again, I would be more heartbroken to have to put a dog on a diet than I would to not feed them off the table.
Right. Yeah. So you can start that from the
It's
beginning.
like you're not going to miss what you don't know.
But if you're in too deep, types of things you can do.
Oh,
So I have a friend at the dog park who she came up to me before we were really as, familiar as we are now with each other. And she said, I know you'll tell me the truth. Is my dog fat? And I looked at her, I looked at her dog, and I was like, yeah. I'm like, she's overweight. I'm like, she probably needs to lose 10 pounds. And she goes, what do I do? I said, what are you feeding her? And she was feeding Farmer's Dog. Really nice, good food. I said, what does the package say for Farmer's Dog? If you're feeding Farmer's Dog and you're feeding what it says on the package.
Okay, let's think about this for a minute.
I know. They're trying to make money. It was like 4 cups of food a day or some crap.
Yeah.
I said, listen, give that dog 1 cup in the morning and 1 cup at night, and just keep that consistent, and we'll see what happens. The other day, she was at the dog park, and I saw her dog run by, and I thought it was a completely different dog. I was like, oh, look, there's so-and-so. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no, it's not. That's her dog. And she looks amazing. She can run everywhere. She's so happy. She's so healthy. And she worked really hard to like get her down in weight and to get her exercise up. But it was a lot of work.
So there are websites. It's in kcals, which is like calories for humans, kcals for dogs and pets in general. So if you just Google kcal calculation for dogs, there's all kinds of calculators to determine how many kcals your dog should have a day.
Yeah.
And then you can split that up in between feedings. I only feed once a day.
Yeah.
There's a lot of research behind feeding twice a day. There's a lot of research behind feeding once a day.
Yeah.
You do
whatever
you
works.
boo,
Yeah.
what works for you, what works for your pack.
Just not too much.
If you open feed, then
just monitor your dogs and make sure everybody's
Yeah, I think open feeding works for dogs that have it that are adjusted.
that have been raised that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Open feeding's probably not going to work for a hoarding situation
Right.
dog.
Yeah.
Until you can get them, figured out. But
I will say that Melon is a little portly right now. He's gained a little weight. He's feeling.
you
a little,
don't say.
He's feeling a little, feeling a little comfortable at the food bowl.
But that these calculators will also help you. If your dog's overweight, and then you can just like human stuff.
Yeah.
You can put in your ideal weight and how many calories you should have a day for that. So use those resources.
So if you're feeding your dogs a meal, or even at our house, sometimes what I do, even though we've got open feed, I will fill a puzzle feeder, like these game toy things, full of food, which I think I've mentioned before. The only dogs in my household who are smart enough to figure out the puzzle feeder are the dumbest dogs I have, which are my pugs. And I think it's because they're the most food motivated. But like Ninja, she's getting that food out of the puzzle feeder. She knows how to open all the doors, pull the strings, do all the things. Like, she's got it figured out. But it keeps them entertained and it makes them work for their food. And so that can be...
slows it down.
And then they have the slow feeders as well.
Yeah.
Which, when that German Shepherd came into the house, Cam goes, "Hey, where's the slow feeder? That's how I'm going to feed him." Because we assumed he was just going to scarf everything down.
Mm-hmm.
He won't eat out of it. He didn't
Problem solved, problem staying solved, as far as I'm concerned.
I know. I had it down there for 3 days, and he hadn't eaten at all. And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I took.
Well, that is normal.
I know it is, but it was like not normal for like. I mean, he should. No,
I understand what you're saying.
So I took another bowl of food, and he is depressed. I mean, his dad died.
Yeah.
He left. His sister's gone. Like,
and
he's
they
having
got separated.
He's having a hard time.
The two dogs got separated.
Two dogs got separated, so he's having a hard time. But I put down the actual bowl of food, and he goes, "Oh, thank goodness, there's no octopus in there," because our slow feeder is just like an octopus, with his arms out. But yeah, so those slow feeders are a really big help. Those can be great. So then, in addition to cutting down food, maybe making some challenges when eating, making some real choices about portions and what type of food we're feeding dogs. If you are curious about what types of foods are good to feed your dog, check back to our Food or Fooled episode, which talks about a lot of that. But then we need to exercise.
Yeah.
Right? You can't, diet alone is not going to make a healthy dog. So we got to have some sort of stimulation.
And just like humans, you can't just go from being sedentary on the couch for the last 5 years of your life into running a marathon. Nope. So if your dog is obese and you are wanting to get them on an exercise, you need to talk with your vet probably and get them on some Vetprofen to help with their joints and get some joint supplements. Fish oil is very good for them. That's good for any dog at any weight. Fish
I'm
oil
gonna look up the joint supplement that our vet just recommended for these two chunker munkers.
It needs to have, I think it's called MSM or MGM.
Yep.
Yeah. That's what my vet recommended as well.
The one that our vet recommended, if it loads here, is called Cosequin.
Yep.
And it's got the MSM in it. It's a joint support supplement. I got the chewable pill version, but they have more of a treat type one. But we're on a diet, so we're going with the vitamin. And it helps with any difficulty standing or sitting, going up and down stairs, uncomfortable and getting up. This poor German Shepherd is so uninterested in anything right now. I know part of it is depression and part of it is just it hurts to do anything.
Right.
So it's supposed to help with all of that. So we're going to try this in addition to diet and exercise. And
dogs will mask pain much more than humans will. So, when I have a headache, anybody with an earshot is going to know it.
That was me half the morning.
I have a headache. Oh. Don't talk to me. Yeah. Don't look at me. Nothing. But a dog will not show any obvious signs of pain until
it's bad.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
So if you have an obese dog, you're starting a exercise plan. Maybe start out around the block.
Slow. Yep.
And then quit and do that for a few days. And then maybe around 2 blocks and, give that a break in.
Well, and dogs are going to do as
Depending on the dog and the size
depending
and
on the
all of
dog.
that.
But dogs are going to do what they can to make you happy and to like, the level that we put it at. So I have a German Shepherd mix, Dottie, who has always had kind of like a back end, common with the German Shepherd breed, kind of bad back hips. She loves to play fetch. And if I'm engaging her to play fetch, she will not stop
until
she can't walk for 2 days.
Yep.
So you got to be careful because it feels like, oh, they're doing okay. And
they're having fun.
They're having fun. Take it slow.
Yep.
Don't go balls to the wall in the very beginning. You got to go just a little bit. So once this heat breaks, we're going to start our walkies with Kaboom, the giant German Shepherd. But after, you got to go slow.
Yep. Joint massage. So
there's dog masseuses.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
You can do it yourself.
Yep.
Just gentle massage. I have this is going to sound bad. I have a vibrating wand thing for Dallas. Dallas is my German Shepherd. He has the, you perverts. He has
a massage gun for your dog.
He has the typical back end hip issues that German Shepherds do. Although he's 12 years old and he just had his wellness visit and she said he's doing great.
Oh yeah, he's spry.
But he's on Vetprofen every day, which has helped immensely. He's on fish oil. He gets his supplements. He gets egg. He gets cottage cheese. So he's on a very healthy diet. But I also have this massage thing, which he loves it.
We all do.
Loves it. He just, and you don't have to do it forever. I mean, just 10 minutes and he's happy as a clam.
Yeah, same.
I did not mean to do that. He really is. He loves it though. So that's something to help. Water therapy, the water treadmill.
So
talk about that.
Yeah, I'm going to post about this, but there's actually places in the Des Moines metro area that have underwater treadmill therapy. I had a Lhasa Apso that had IVDD, vertebral disc disease. I probably said that wrong, but basically it's like a back issue where their back goes out. And so they have this water therapy. So for dogs that are overweight, where it's really hard on their joints to walk, or if dogs that have this disc disease in their back where it's hard for them to walk, you can take them, put them in the water, and they walk on this treadmill, and you will be, it's just like humans, like
I've
walking
seen that,
in the water.
There's a mobile, I don't know about the Des Moines area, but I've seen it like on TikTok or something. It's like the mobile treadmill situation. And they have a water one too.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat.
It is cool. But yeah, this place that I found and that I have been referred to before is called Positive Strides, but of course, PAW, Positive Strides. And they have an underwater treadmill there. And I know that there's other places that do as well, but this is on Ingersoll in Des Moines. So I'll post them. I know that I've heard good reviews about what they're doing, and they're treating all kinds of things. So like injury to hip dysplasia to back issues to obesity. So just like going to the gym, if they can't handle the walk around the block, which it can be hard on really overweight dogs like that, we'll see if I need to.
And as always, especially this time of year, we've done another episode on this too. We touched on this in another episode. If you're walking your dogs outside this time of year, watch the heat, watch the temp levels, because pavement, blacktop, asphalt, it goes through the roof. So
yeah. And especially
do
an
not
overweight
use
dog.
that as an excuse to not exercise your dog. There are plenty of places to go exercise where there's not concrete and asphalt. Get them out on a hike or in the grass or dog parks.
Or even just like walking up and down the stairs in your house. Like if they can do it. Like Kaboom, he can't do steps. We got to walk him around the house to get him upstairs and walk him back around the house to go to bed at night. Like he can't. But your dogs probably, if they're slightly overweight, they can do some stairs, right? So throw the ball up the stairs, have them go get it. Throw the ball up the stairs, have them go get it a couple times. That can be good for them. So
a little bit here and there.
It does. And then I know that I have, you hear me talk about the dog park all the time, but it's a great place to socialize your dog as well as exercise your dog. So like Paws and Pints and several other dog parks in the area have like a walk trail that you can do where your dog can be off leash, walking at its own pace, and you do the trail as many times as makes sense for you and your dog. There's one family out there, they've got 3 Weimaraners, and I see them get there and I'm like, oh, they're on a mission, and they go out there and they do their whatever 6 laps, and then they go, like, they've got an exercise routine that they're doing every day because they know those dogs need it. So yeah.
These overweight dogs, I mean, it's hard on rescues because
When we get them, it's hard to adopt that out.
who's going to adopt
It's a challenge.
this out? Because yes, I mean, we will find somebody.
We will.
Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah, I know it. I mean, it is. It's not like saying, okay, I'll adopt a senior dog, but now this senior dog needs
it's overweight, on medication, needs a special diet, needs special food. You know,
So now
it just
you've built this
compounds the
issue.
issue.
Yeah. I mean,
So you're really not doing your dog any service by taking it through a McDonald's drive-through. You're not
Please.
doing anything for anybody except McDonald's. Like, don't.
well, not to mention like the bad things as far as like weight gain with that, but like the salt content.
The nutrition is.
Salt content
it's
alone.
terrible for you too. So
Yeah,
maybe just use
don't
your
do
dog as
that.
an excuse to not do it at all.
So I've been listening to, and we'll talk a little bit more about this, but Holly and I were sent a book about dog intelligence, and I've been kind of listening and reading through that book. And there was one thing that they were talking about as far as enrichment with your dog. So they have like these snuffle mats where you feed them in the snuffle mat and you feed them in the puzzle toy. But one thing that they said is get a head of lettuce. They're cheap. You put food inside the head of lettuce, like treats and whatever. So like that's the time where it gets like its food and treats. It's getting the olfactory of like smelling out and figuring out like where the treats are and getting them the thing. If they eat the lettuce, cool, great, it's good for them, it doesn't hurt them.
Right.
But if they dig through the lettuce, it's kind of a fun thing because that
Shred it.
ripping, tearing,
Yeah.
shredding, which
Oh,
is really
yeah,
good
yeah,
for
yeah.
the dog.
Which is, that's not foreign to them. That's
No.
in their hereditary.
It is a very valid activity for your dog to do to get out mental, get a mental stimulation. It's getting its treats that way. Or maybe you're feeding your dog, but it sounds crazy, but like once a week you're feeding your dog in a head of lettuce, which is what, $1.99 or whatever. But she was talking about that in this book and I'm like, okay, that makes
I'm trying
sense.
to envision Stanley eating his.
I think it's probably like a
he
bigger
would
dog.
look at me and be like,
What are
"No,
you doing? I'm not doing that.
not happening." But there again, if you have a young dog or if you adopt a puppy, let's say that P.S. we have 10 of them coming up for adoption
Yeah,
here
lots
pretty
of
soon.
puppies.
If you start that from the beginning, then that's what they know.
Yeah, that's their excitement. And the other thing is like a puppy, they want to rip and tear stuff up.
Yeah, let them
Great.
tear up a head
Once
of
a week,
lettuce.
throw it out in the yard, head of lettuce, throw some dog kibble in the middle of it, shake it down, give it to them, and it'll keep them entertained for a long time.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's all kinds of tips and tricks like that on the internet. Those snuffle mats you can buy, but they're also really easy to make. It's just
I have never heard of that before. I'm going to
so-
have to look that up.
a snuffle mat is usually it's like fleece or flannel, and it's like little pieces of material cut up. And then you
yes, I
sprinkle
have
the
seen
treats
these.
or their food in there, and it takes them longer to eat it. So it gets a mental stimulation. It gets the play in. It gets that. There's a huge benefit to dogs smelling. When you're walking your dog for exercise,
These are
let
so
it
cute.
stop and smell, because smelling for a dog is a huge mental stimulation that they need to do.
I saw this. Somebody said, dog sniffing on a dog walk is equivalent to Twitter for humans.
Yeah.
Like,
We're just seeing what
Let
is
them-
going on in the
yeah.
world.
I always hate that when
so
you see people walking their dog and you're
they're
like, come on. Like,
do not pull your
what-
dog away
like,
from
Do you have
sniffing.
somewhere to be?
Yeah.
Just let them
Sniff.
Let them do their thing.
Well, and there's huge research. We're still learning about how dogs take in the world because of like the pure difference in how like their olfactory like process works, right? But what they're saying is like if you allow your dog like 5 minutes of just sniffing something like in the environment on a walk or in a snuffle mat or like finding something in your house, hiding a toy in a little can or something, their mental health goes
Skyrockets.
skyrockets.
Oh, good.
And so this is just one of those things that, like, as you're exercising your dog physically, think about the mental stimulation too. Because if you got a fat, lazy dog who's been eating cheeseburgers, he doesn't feel good. He doesn't.
Yeah.
His mental health is poor.
I just quit eating that stuff because it just makes me feel
Garbage.
Imagine what it does to them.
Yeah.
Nah.
Not good.
I think I'm going to maybe make a more dedicated effort at doing some of these, like the snuffle mat stuff.
Yeah.
Because, my dogs are healthy and
Yeah.
happy to see me. And, I mean,
They go on
they're doing
adventures.
fine. But I think I could do better. I think I could give them more to,
I'm telling you, those puzzle toys have been a huge hit at our house. And it was never anything that I ever thought about. But somebody like donated a couple to the rescue, and so I had a younger puppy, and I thought, oh my gosh, this dog is driving me nuts. I'm gonna get this thing out. And then my dogs started really like enjoying it, and they would spend 15, 20 minutes all working together to get this toy open to get their food out, and it wasn't even treats; it was just food.
I had bought those the buttons that you can train on, but I gave them to my dad to work with his border collie. But he should be doing that with Tater.
Yes.
Because she's so young.
She is.
She could really be smart.
That book that we got too.
She is smart.
They talk about, there's a whole chapter that is just talking about that gal that's famous on TikTok who has that one dog who has the whole floor of buttons.
Yes, Bunny. Yeah.
Bunny.
Yeah.
They interview
I know
Bunny.
her.
Yeah, yes. They interview Bunny in that book. And she talks about some dogs pick it up and it's great. Some don't. And here's what you do to learn it. And here's what's positive. Here's what's negative. All the things. It's super interesting. Yeah. But yeah.
Well, 40% of my dogs are deaf. So, I mean.
Well.
The other 60% don't give two shits.
Yeah.
All right, snuffle mat. I'm going to get one.
Yeah. So
it's coming, Stanley. It's coming, buddy.
I
like those toys that you stuff the
and they have to move
and
it
they have to
get
no, they rip it out like the Mr. Potato Heads where they can rip out the arms and stuff.
Oh
and
yeah,
then you put them back
other
in.
pieces of toy.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are cool. Anything to stimulate a dog's mind is also going to actually help with all of these things. So it's super important. So anyway, getting a new puppy, start right from the start. But if you end up with, a senior dog who's chunky, there's things that you can do to help improve and lengthen its life.
And the quicker you identify it and start working on it, the better off both of you will be.
Yep. No drive-throughs. Stop feeding the dog off your plate. And you'll have a lot longer time on this planet with your best friend.
Yep.
So
100%.
Yeah.
Well, we hope you've enjoyed this episode of
us telling you what to do. That's what we like.
Well, I learned a lot too, honestly.
Yeah.
Every time we do an educational thing, I always pick up at least 2
same.
or 3, 4, 5, 8, 10 things.
Yeah.
So.
We'll see if I'll be booking an underwater treadmill for the fattest German Shepherd I've ever seen in my life.
Real quick. What can dogs not have?
For foods?
Like, they can't have raisins. They can't have chocolate.
No. If you're going to feed grapes, make sure they're seedless grapes because the seeds in grapes and apples are really toxic.
Poisonous.
I would just avoid grapes altogether personally, but
chicken bones.
Yeah, any sort of cooked bone.
Cooked beef, any cooked bone, beef bone. Although Jones bones, they test for splintering, but I still wouldn't even risk. I mean, what's the benefit? What's the risk reward, right?
Yeah.
It's way upside down. So.
I don't know.
So, there's a few things that dogs can't have.
Obviously,
I think avocados, they can't have avocados.
Avocado, it's the center of the avocado, I think, is the problem. But the one thing I have seen, and it just popped up on this list I'm looking at, xylitol, which any sort of fake sugar. So specifically, I have had a friend who 2 times, she used to like to chew this gum. It's like an Icebreaker's gum. It's got like the crystals in it, and it's got this xylitol, and now they call it birch sugar. That's also another name that you might see on the list of ingredients. Okay. Xylitol, birch sugar. Immediately death to dogs.
Oh, God.
Or emergency visit if you catch it in time.
Can you imagine?
She had a dog get into this gum twice. First of all, if that happened, if my family gets that kind of gum, I make them keep it in their car and you can't be around the dogs. I'm so paranoid, but thousands of dollars a visit to save these dogs' lives. And it's not just like pumping the stomach. It's like treatments and like trying to save them and all this stuff. So that xylitol is like immediately, if your dog gets into that, and there's a lot of candies and lots of things that have that in there. There's even peanut butter that has that birch sugar or that xylitol in it, like the fake sugar. It'll be like a reduced fat peanut butter or something like that. Has that fake sugar in it. Your dog could just immediately, you wouldn't even know it happened. And it would just be like, well, my dog immediately like just dropped dead. It's that severe. It's not even just your dog's going to get the shits. It's not good. So that's one really major one. Not that you're going to on purpose feed your dog gum, but just be careful what you have around.
Onions, garlic.
See, it says corn on the cob because they don't want you to
right.
choke on the cob.
I know that peppers are fine. Broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, green beans, peas.
Yep.
All the things that your kids don't eat.
Yep. And anything with too much salt can really throw off a dog. The other thing is, you know, you think like, oh, I have a piece of meat, a cut of meat. That's safe to give my dog. There are specific breeds of dogs that are more apt to get pancreatitis, specifically pugs. So I'm very particular at our house that nobody gives a pug a people treat, specifically pork. Pork and pugs, you're going to end up in pancreatitis.
Pancreatitis is nothing to screw around with.
No.
It can come on very quickly.
And it can be fatal quickly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, there's
Anyway.
some things to not give them.
Yeah. So, but do your research because there are some people foods that are really healthy. Green beans, carrots, pieces of celery, crunchy things that dogs like to chomp and chew on, but that have very low caloric intake. That, again, that head of lettuce, which seems crazy, but they like that if you put that food in there.
I'm going to do that to Stanley and
Just
see
what
what
he
happens.
does. I think probably Dallas would be a better fit for the head of lettuce to shred it, but maybe Stanley. We'll see.
I don't think any of them are good candidates, to be honest with you.
I'm going to try it with my big kids and see what they do.
Well, the other three don't have enough teeth to do it, so.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. But anyway, we all just want our dogs to be with us as long as possible. And we hate when we have to get a dog into rescue that we have to immediately start a project on. And so the dogs that have come to us that are overweight are from people that have passed away. So maybe their health declined so that the decline of how they were taking care of their dogs happened. And we're seeing that result in.
They can't exercise as much and that too.
Yeah.
But it's more about the pain for the dog.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard for them to even get up. It's hard for them to lay down.
Yep.
I mean,
it's hard to watch at my house right now with our foster dog.
now Dallas has they call it the Barker bed or Barker bed. I don't want to even admit how much money I spent on this bed, but it's like it's a better mattress than the mattress I sleep on.
Yeah.
But it's a very thick dog bed that is Tempur-Pedic.
Yeah.
And so not only is it helpful for his joints and whatnot, but he can get up out of it easier and he can lay down easier because it's higher.
As a tip.
Get what I'm saying?
Yes. As a tip, the dupe of that, the Walmart version is a toddler mattress.
Oh, yeah. I did that for him in the garage.
Yeah.
I put a toddler mattress out in the garage for when I'm gone.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, you could even have, like, if you have friends that have little kids and they're like, oh, he's upgrading to the big
Yep,
boy bed.
there
Like,
you
what are you
go.
doing with that toddler mattress?
You can find toddler
Who cares
mattresses
if they peed on it, you know?
any
Whatever.
curb, any day of the week.
Yeah. You can. So that's a great idea for that.
Yeah.
I should probably try and find that one for him. That'd be good. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Lots of tips, lots of tricks. I don't really know where all that went, but it's fine.
Well, let's all.
You guys will figure it out.
You will. Let's continue to do what's best for our dogs and figure it out.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye. We'll figure it out.
Oh my dog.
What I mean when I see, what I feel, when I dream, when I be, I'm a freak, what up? Oh, what up? Everybody look at me when I'm free, when I feel, what I see, when I do it, I'm a freak, what up? Oh, what up? Say what we got, it's hot to spot, give up the drop, see what we got, do what? We got to go, the body flow, too hot to show, the front row, we won't stop.